Barron Trump had always been taught that true greatness wasn't merely about power or privilege. It was about the difference you made in the lives of others. One fateful afternoon, that lesson would become an unforgettable part of him, etched deep within his heart in the most surprising way. It was a cool autumn day in New York City, the golden hues of the trees in Central Park blending beautifully with the city's lively and bustling streets. Barron, tall and composed, had just emerged from a quiet cafe tucked near Fifth Avenue. His mind was a swirl of thoughts, academic deadlines, personal projects, and the weighty responsibilities that inevitably came with belonging to a high-profile family. Even though the park nearby radiated tranquility, his thoughts were far from serene. He longed for a fleeting moment of normalcy, a chance to slip unnoticed into the world, away from the constant spotlight that came with his name. As he strolled along a winding cobblestone path cutting through the park, a familiar ache tugged at him. It was during this reflective walk that a faint voice broke through his thoughts, pulling him back to the present. He stopped, tilting his head slightly, his sharp gaze locking onto a small group of kids gathered around a park bench. One of them, a boy no older than 12, spoke with animated passion. His voice carried a mix of excitement and desperation, tinged with the kind of raw emotion only dreams could spark. "One day I'll see the world," the boy declared, clutching a worn-out map as if it were the key to his future. His words were soft, almost a whisper, yet they carried an unmistakable conviction. Barron hesitated, his curiosity sparking. The boy's friends chuckled, not maliciously, but with that playful skepticism only kids could manage. "Dreaming a bit big there, Jack," one teased, nudging him with a laugh. "How can you even think about traveling when your family's struggling to pay rent?" Jack's face flushed a deep red as he stared down at his scuffed sneakers. Yet, even under the weight of their words, his grip on the map tightened. "Maybe," he mumbled, his voice quieter now, "but dreams don't cost anything." Barron stood still, captivated by the boy's determination. A strange mixture of admiration and empathy welled up inside him. He'd spent years watching countless people chase their ambitions, their paths paved by resources his own family rarely thought twice about. But here was this young boy, clinging fiercely to his dream, despite the odds stacked against him. Unable to ignore the moment, Barron moved toward them. His tall frame and quiet confidence immediately caught the children's attention. Jack glanced up, startled, as the others fell silent. "Hey," Barron greeted softly, his deep voice cutting through the cool air. "That's quite a map you've got there." Jack hesitated for a moment before carefully holding up the worn piece of paper. It was filled with colorful markings, scribbled notes in the margins and tiny stars scattered across various countries and cities. "This is my dream map," he explained, his voice barely audible. "Someday, I want to visit all these places." Barron crouched slightly, bringing himself to Jack's level as he examined the map with genuine curiosity. "What's the first place you want to see?" he asked. Jack's eyes lit up with a mix of excitement and surprise. "Paris," he exclaimed without a second thought. "I've read so much about the Eiffel Tower, and I've always dreamed of seeing it in person." Barron smiled warmly. "Paris is amazing. You'd absolutely love it," he said, glancing briefly at the other kids. Their skepticism was evident, but he chose to keep his focus on Jack. "So, what's holding you back?" Jack's smile faltered just slightly as he replied, "My family doesn't have the money. My mom works 2 jobs, and my dad's been sick for a long time. I don't think it's something that'll ever happen." The raw honesty in Jack's words hit Barron deeply. It stirred memories of his own childhood dreams, how effortlessly they'd been turned into reality. The stark contrast between their lives was a humbling reminder of the inequalities in the world. For the next several minutes, Barron listened intently as Jack poured out his aspirations. His words tumbled out with an urgency, as though he feared the chance to share them might vanish. He spoke about his love for history, his fascination with different cultures, and the hours he spent at the local library, reading about distant lands he could only imagine. "I've never even been on a plane," Jack admitted, his voice carrying a mix of longing and embarrassment. Barron's mind raced. He wanted to offer words of encouragement, something that would inspire Jack to hold tight to his dreams. But more than that, he felt compelled to act. Growing up in the Trump family had taught him one thing: actions speak far louder than words. This moment was an opportunity to make a real impact. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the park in a golden glow, Barron finally broke the silence. "Jack," he said with quiet certainty, "I believe you're going to see Paris someday. And when you do, I think it'll just be the start of all your adventures." Jack's eyes widened, full of wonder and disbelief. Barron Trump had always believed that true greatness wasn't defined by privilege or power. It was measured by the impact you had on the lives of others. One crisp autumn afternoon, that belief would be deeply etched into his heart in the most unexpected way. The day was beautiful in New York City. Central Park's golden trees stood in stunning contrast to the lively buzz of the surrounding streets. Barron, tall and composed, had just stepped out of a cozy cafe near Fifth Avenue, his thoughts consumed by the many projects and responsibilities tied to his family name. Even with the park's peaceful ambience nearby, his mind felt anything but calm. He often yearned for a sense of normalcy, a fleeting moment to blend in with the crowd, free from the constant attention his name attracted. As he wandered along a cobblestone path winding through the park, a familiar longing tugged at him. But then, a faint voice broke through his thoughts, capturing his attention. He paused, tilting his head slightly, his sharp gaze settling on a small group of kids gathered on a nearby bench. One boy, no older than 12, was speaking with animated enthusiasm. His voice carried a mix of excitement and desperation. "One day I'll see the world," the boy declared, clutching a tattered map tightly in his hands. His words were barely louder than a whisper, yet they brimmed with undeniable conviction. Barron stopped in his tracks, his curiosity piqued. The boy's friends laughed lightly, not with malice, but with the innocent skepticism only kids can have. "You're dreaming too big, Jack," one teased, nudging him with an elbow. "How can you think about traveling when your family's struggling just to pay rent?" Jack's face flushed, and he looked down at his worn sneakers. But even with the embarrassment, his grip on the map only tightened. "Maybe," he murmured, "but dreams don't cost anything." Barron stood frozen, a strange mix of admiration and sympathy blooming within him. For years, he'd watched people chase their ambitions, often fueled by resources his family had always taken for granted. But here was this boy, clinging fiercely to a dream, despite the overwhelming odds against him. Unable to resist, Barron approached the group. His imposing height and quiet confidence drew their attention immediately. Jack looked up, startled, as the others fell silent. "Hey," Barron said softly, his deep voice breaking the crisp air. "That's an interesting map you've got there." Jack hesitated briefly before holding up the worn paper. It was covered in colorful markings, scribbled notes, and tiny stars dotting various countries and cities. "It's my dream map," he said quietly. "One day, I want to visit all these places." Barron crouched slightly to meet Jack's gaze, examining the map with genuine curiosity. "What's the first place you want to see?" he asked. Jack's eyes lit up with a mix of excitement and surprise. "Paris," he exclaimed without hesitation. "I've read about the Eiffel Tower, and I've always wanted to see it in person." Barron smiled warmly. "Paris is incredible. You'd love it," he said, glancing briefly at the other kids. Their skepticism was clear, but he kept his focus on Jack. "So, what's stopping you?" Jack's smile dimmed a little. "My family doesn't have the money," he admitted. "My mom works 2 jobs, and my dad's been sick for a long time. I don't think it'll ever happen." The honesty in Jack's words struck a chord with Barron. It brought back memories of his own childhood dreams that had always been within reach. The stark difference between their circumstances was a sobering reminder of life's inequalities. For several minutes, Barron listened as Jack poured out his aspirations, his words tumbling out with urgency, as if afraid the chance to share them might vanish. Jack spoke about his love for history, his fascination with other cultures, and the hours he spent in the local library, reading about far-off lands. "I've never even been on a plane," Jack confessed, his voice tinged with both longing and embarrassment. Barron's mind raced. He wanted to say something that would inspire Jack to hold on to his dreams. But more than that, he felt compelled to act. Growing up in the Trump family had taught him that actions often spoke louder than words. This moment felt like a chance to make a real difference. As the sun dipped lower, casting a golden glow over the park, Barron finally spoke. "Jack," he said with quiet certainty, "I think you're going to see Paris someday. And when you do, I have a feeling it'll just be the beginning of all your adventures." Jack's eyes widened, his expression softening into a genuine smile. "You really think so?" he asked. "I know so," Barron replied firmly. "Dreams like yours have a way of coming true." Their conversation was interrupted by the distant chime of a clock tower marking the late afternoon. Jack and his friends said their goodbyes, disappearing into the crowd, the map still clutched tightly in Jack's hand. That evening, as Barron sat by the large window of his family's Manhattan apartment, the city lights stretching endlessly before him, he couldn't shake the image of Jack's hopeful face. The boy's determination despite his challenges was humbling and inspiring. Reaching for his laptop, Barron began researching. He looked into scholarships, charities, and organizations that could help children like Jack travel the world. But nothing seemed immediate enough. Then an idea struck, a bold, unconventional idea that made him smile. If no one else could help Jack, maybe Barron himself could. The confidence Jack gained pushed him to pursue even bigger goals for the future. With relentless enthusiasm, he dove into the process, taking on odd jobs around his neighborhood and saving every penny he earned. Barron's guidance became his anchor, and the bond between them quickly grew stronger, bridging their vastly different worlds. Through late-night calls and weekly meetups at the park, they worked tirelessly toward their shared mission. As weeks turned into months, Jack's determination began to inspire those around him. Friends who had once doubted him started to rally behind his efforts, contributing in small but meaningful ways. Barron, too, found himself deeply invested, not just in helping Jack reach Paris, but in witnessing the boy's confidence blossom and his belief in the impossible take root. For Barron, greatness had always meant making an impact on others. And as he watched Jack inch closer to his dream, he realized this wasn't just about Jack's transformation, it was changing him too. Barron Trump had never considered himself much of a planner. He admired people who meticulously organized every detail of their lives, but his strength was in big-picture thinking and jumping in with passion. Yet, as he worked side by side with Jack, he found himself growing in ways he hadn't anticipated. Jack's excitement was infectious, turning their weekly meetups into lively brainstorming sessions. Ideas flowed freely, and they started small, setting achievable goals. Their first task: creating a budget. One sunny afternoon, the two sat in a quiet corner of the park, armed with a notebook and a calculator. Barron's voice was steady and encouraging as he explained the basics. "All right, let's break this down. You'll need to cover airfare, accommodations, food, and maybe a bit extra for sightseeing. First, though, let's figure out how much you can save each month." Jack's brow furrowed as he scribbled numbers. "I make about $220 a week helping Mr. Lopez at the corner store. If I save all of it, that's $80 a month." "That's a great start," Barron said with a grin. "And if we can find ways to bump up that amount, you'll be on your way even faster." Jack nodded, determination lighting up his face. Together, they brainstormed more ways to earn money, everything from mowing lawns to tutoring younger kids in math. As the list of side gigs grew, Barron floated another idea, a fundraiser. Jack hesitated, his voice laced with doubt. "What if no one wants to help?" Barron leaned forward, his tone reassuring. "People love supporting someone with a genuine dream. All you have to do is share your story. Let them see how much this means to you." The idea grew into a neighborhood event. With Barron's help, Jack designed flyers and approached local businesses for support. The event featured a bake sale, a raffle, and even a mini talent show. Using his connections, Barron secured a few raffle prizes to make the event even more appealing. On the big day, the park buzzed with energy. Families and friends gathered, drawn by Jack's infectious enthusiasm and the promise of a fun afternoon. At the center of it all stood Jack, his cheeks flushed with excitement, eagerly sharing his dream with anyone willing to listen. Barron watched from the sidelines, his heart swelling with pride. By the end of the day, Jack had raised over $500. While it wasn't a fortune, it was a significant leap forward. More importantly, Jack's confidence soared higher than ever. Barron couldn't shake the profound sense of fulfillment he felt. Though he had always believed in the value of helping others, witnessing its tangible impact was an entirely different experience. Their efforts didn't go unnoticed. Word of Jack's dream and Barron's role in it began to spread. Local news outlets soon caught wind of the story, intrigued by the unique partnership between a billionaire's son and a boy from a humble neighborhood. The coverage attracted even more attention to their cause, and donations began pouring in from strangers inspired by Jack's unwavering determination. Despite the increasing support, Barron understood they couldn't depend solely on others' goodwill. He remained committed to teaching Jack about perseverance and hard work. Together, they researched affordable travel options, practiced French phrases, and discussed ways to prepare Jack for his upcoming adventure. But Barron's lessons didn't stop at the practical. He wanted Jack to adopt the mindset of a true traveler, someone who is curious, open-minded, and resilient. Travel isn't just about seeing new places, Barron shared one afternoon as they sat on a park bench overlooking the trees. It's about learning, growing, and connecting with people who see the world differently. That's what makes it truly special. Jack listened intently, his eyes alight with understanding. "I want to do that. I want to learn as much as I can," he said with enthusiasm. Barron's admiration for Jack grew deeper. The boy's eagerness to learn and his relentless determination reminded Barron of the value of gratitude and humility. He often reflected on how easy it was to take opportunities for granted. Helping Jack reignited Barron's own sense of purpose and gratitude for the privileges he had. One evening, as Barron reviewed their progress, his phone buzzed with a message from an old family friend who worked in philanthropy. She had seen the news coverage and was deeply moved by the story. "Barron, this is amazing," the message read. "If you're open to it, I'd love to connect Jack with some of my contacts. We might be able to support him even more." Barron's mind swirled with possibilities. He realized that with the right connections, Jack's dream could come true far sooner than either of them had hoped. The next morning, Barron excitedly shared the news with Jack. Jack sat in stunned silence, his face a mix of disbelief and joy, before breaking into a wide grin. Are you serious? They really want to help. Jack's voice trembled with excitement. Absolutely, Barron assured him. But remember, this is just one step in the journey. What you've accomplished so far is incredible, and no matter what, you should be proud of how far you've come. The weeks that followed were a flurry of activity. Thanks to Barron's connections, Jack was introduced to organizations that provided travel scholarships and grants for young adventurers. He attended cultural immersion workshops and even joined a mentorship program for aspiring travelers. Barron watched proudly as Jack seized every opportunity that came his way, his confidence growing with each experience. The bond between them deepened as they tackled challenges together, both learning and evolving through the journey. Over time, Barron's idea began evolving into a concrete plan. One evening, as he sat at his desk, he scribbled ideas into a notebook, envisioning a program that would offer mentorship and resources to underprivileged youth with big dreams. The initiative, he thought, could inspire a new generation of dreamers and bring about lasting change. The more he wrote, the more energized he became. By the time he closed the notebook, he had a rough outline of what would soon become one of his most ambitious projects yet. The following day, Barron shared his vision with a few trusted mentors and advisors. Their responses were overwhelmingly positive. Encouraged by their support, they offered advice to help him refine the concept and navigate the practical details. Motivated by their enthusiasm, Barron immersed himself in the planning process, pouring every spare moment into making the project a reality. As weeks turned into months, the initiative began to materialize. Barron worked relentlessly, building a team, securing funding, and forging partnerships with like-minded organizations. His experiences with Jack became the foundation for the program, using their journey together as a blueprint. The initiative wouldn't just focus on financial aid, it would also emphasize personal growth, resilience, and self-belief. Balancing this new endeavor with his other responsibilities wasn't easy, but Barron's commitment never wavered. He often thought of Jack and the determination that had inspired him so deeply. Jack's story became the heart of the initiative, a powerful testament to what could be achieved with the right guidance and support. As the launch date drew closer, Barron felt a blend of excitement and nerves. He knew the success of the program would hinge on its ability to connect with people on a personal level. To that end, he decided to share Jack's story with the world, with Jack's full permission, of course. From a humble park bench in New York to the magical streets of Paris, Jack's journey was a shining example of the power of dreams and the importance of self-belief. When the initiative was finally unveiled, it garnered widespread attention. Media outlets celebrated Barron's efforts, praising the program's potential to create meaningful change. Donations began pouring in from individuals and organizations alike, fueling the initiative's momentum. Barron was truly moved by the overwhelming support that poured in. It was clear that their message resonated deeply with people, and the momentum only continued to grow. Through it all, Jack remained a vital part of the journey. Returning from Paris, he carried with him a newfound confidence and countless stories to share. At the initiative's very first event, Barron invited Jack to speak. Jack captivated the audience with his heartfelt account of his journey. His words left an undeniable mark, with many attendees commenting on how inspired they felt by his determination and gratitude. When I first met Barron, Jack began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion, I never thought my life could change this much. He believed in me, even when I didn't know how to believe in myself. And now, because of him, I understand that no dream is too big or too impossible to chase. The audience erupted into applause, and Barron couldn't help but feel a deep sense of pride. This moment perfectly captured everything he had hoped for, empowering others to dream big and take action. In the following weeks, the initiative gained even more traction. participants from all walks of life began joining, creating a ripple effect of positivity that spread far and wide. As the program continued to grow, Barron made it a priority to stay personally connected with the participants. He often met with them individually, offering words of encouragement and guidance. Every story he encountered reinforced his belief in the power of lifting others up. Barron saw firsthand how even the smallest acts of support could lead to life-changing transformations. It fueled his determination to keep pushing forward. Jack, too, became deeply involved in the program. He stepped into a mentorship role, sharing his journey with younger participants and helping them navigate their own paths. His authenticity and relatable nature made him a natural leader. Many participants looked up to Jack as a true source of inspiration. Barron watched with admiration as Jack grew into a confident, capable young man, fully embodying the values the initiative sought to instill. Despite the increasing demands of running the program, Barron remained humble and grounded. He often reflected on just how much he had learned from Jack and all the other participants along the way. Barron realized that the journey had transformed him just as much as it had changed those he aimed to help. It was a powerful reminder that true greatness doesn't lie solely in personal achievements, but in the impact one can make on others' lives. As the initiative flourished, Barron often found himself envisioning the future. He imagined expanding its reach to touch even more communities, building a global network of dreamers and doers. The possibilities seemed limitless, and with each new milestone, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. Throughout it all, the bond between Barron and Jack remained as strong as ever. They often reminisced about their first meeting in the park, marveling at how far they had come together. What had begun as a simple chance encounter had grown into something extraordinary, a partnership built on trust, respect, and an unshakable belief in the power of dreams. For Barron, the journey was far from over. He knew there were countless stories yet to be written, each one a testament to human resilience and the power of hope. Looking ahead to the next chapter, he felt immense gratitude for the opportunity to make a difference, one dream at a time. As Barron's initiative gained momentum, its impact rippled far beyond his initial vision. Every week brought new success stories, as participants from all walks of life shared their experiences of overcoming challenges and pursuing their dreams. Barron was thrilled to see the program evolve into a vibrant community of dreamers, doers, and supporters. Even as the initiative grew, Barron remained deeply involved. He personally reviewed applications, attended events, and regularly met with participants to hear about their progress. During one such meeting, he met a young woman named Maya, whose story struck a chord with him. Maya, a high school senior from a small Kansas town, dreamed of becoming an engineer. She had spent countless hours building models and studying physics. However, her family's financial struggles made pursuing higher education seem out of reach. Despite the challenges, Maya's passion for engineering burned brightly, reminding Barron of Jack. "I've always wanted to create something that could improve people's lives," Maya shared during their first conversation. "I've been working on a solar-powered water purification system, but I don't have the resources to develop it further." Barron listened intently, inspired by her determination and creativity. "That's an incredible idea," he said, smiling. "Let's figure out how we can help you bring it to life." Over the next few months, Maya stood out as one of the initiative's brightest participants. With Barron's support, she secured a mentor, a retired engineer eager to guide her through the technical aspects of her project. Barron also connected her with a non-profit organization offering grants for sustainable technology. Maya's project quickly gained traction, culminating in her presenting her prototype at a regional science fair, where she took home first prize. Watching Maya's success unfold was deeply fulfilling for Barron. It reinforced his belief in the initiative's mission and strengthened his resolve to continue empowering dreamers like her. Fueled by his passion to broaden the initiative's impact, Barron began looking into ways to collaborate with schools, community centers, and other organizations to discover and support more talented young individuals like Maya. While dedicating himself to these efforts, Barron's personal life continued to progress. Balancing the responsibilities of the initiative alongside his studies and family commitments wasn't easy, yet he managed to stay on track by maintaining a clear sense of priorities. The journey of building the program had taught him invaluable lessons about leadership, empathy, and the power of perseverance. These lessons not only influenced how he approached the initiative, but also played a significant role in his personal development. One of the most unforgettable experiences during this time was when Barron was invited to speak at a prestigious youth empowerment conference. The event brought together influential leaders, activists, and visionaries from across the globe. Barron felt truly honored to stand among such an inspiring group of individuals. In his speech, he opened up about the journey that had inspired him to create the initiative. "When I first met Jack," he began, "I saw a young boy with a dream that seemed impossible. But what struck me wasn't just the dream, it was his unshakable belief in it, even when the odds were entirely against him. That moment shifted my perspective on what it truly means to make a difference. It's not about flashy gestures or making headlines. It's about believing in someone and giving them the tools they need to succeed." The audience broke into enthusiastic applause, leaving Barron overwhelmed with a sense of fulfillment that words couldn't fully describe. He felt confident that the conference would amplify the initiative's mission and encourage even more people to join the cause. Back home, the success of the initiative continued to grow. Donations steadily increased, and new partnerships were forged with organizations eager to collaborate. With the expansion of his team, the program was able to extend its reach to new areas, impacting even more lives and creating a ripple effect of positivity. Despite the growth of the initiative, Barron remained dedicated to keeping a personal connection with the participants. He often traveled to local chapters where he met individuals and listened to their stories. One such visit took him to a rural community in Texas, where he encountered a boy named Miguel. Miguel had always dreamed of becoming a pilot, but his family's financial struggles made flying lessons seem like an impossible goal. When Barron heard Miguel's story, he was reminded of Jack's unwavering determination, and he knew he had to help. Using the initiative's resources, Barron arranged for Miguel to attend a summer aviation camp, where he could get a taste of flying and dive deeper into his passion. Miguel's excitement was undeniable, and his gratitude was overflowing. "I never thought I'd get the chance to sit in a real cockpit," Miguel said, his eyes gleaming with enthusiasm. "This is the best day of my life." Moments like these were a powerful reminder of the importance of the work Barron was doing. Every success story underscored the power of belief and the impact of providing opportunities to those who need it most. As the initiative neared its one-year anniversary, Barron and his team began planning a celebration to honor the participants and supporters who made the program a success. The event would feature keynote speakers, workshops, and showcases highlighting the achievements of the participants. Barron wanted the celebration to be more than just a reflection on what had been accomplished. He wanted it to serve as a springboard for what was to come. The anniversary event was held at a grand venue, with hundreds of attendees from all walks of life. Jack, now a confident young man with a wealth of experiences, delivered the opening speech. He spoke passionately about how the initiative had transformed his life and urged others to chase their dreams without fear. "When I first met Barron," Jack began, his voice steady and clear, "I was just a kid with a map and a dream. But now, I've seen things I never thought I'd see, and learned things I never thought I'd learn. This program didn't just give me a chance, it gave me a purpose." The audience erupted in applause, deeply moved by Jack's journey and the transformative power of the initiative. As Barron stood on the sidelines, a profound sense of gratitude washed over him. The celebration was a testament to what could be accomplished when people come together to support one another. Throughout the event, participants shared their stories, showcased their projects, and connected with mentors and supporters. The atmosphere was filled with hope, inspiration, and possibility. Barron made sure to speak with as many attendees as he could, listening intently to their feedback and ideas for the future. As the evening drew to a close, Barron took the stage for his closing remarks. He spoke from the heart, reflecting on the journey that had brought them all together. This initiative started with one dream, Jack's dream to see the world, Barron said. But along the way, it has become so much more. It's a testament to the power of belief, resilience, and the incredible things we can accomplish when we lift each other up. This is just the beginning, and I can't wait to see what we'll accomplish together. The crowd erupted in applause, and Barron felt a surge of pride and optimism. The anniversary celebration had been a resounding success. But more importantly, it served as a powerful reminder of the potential that lay ahead. As he stepped off the stage, Barron knew that the journey was far from over. There were still countless dreams waiting to be realized and lives to be changed, and Barron was more determined than ever to keep pushing forward. As the second year of Barron Trump's initiative began, its influence continued to grow in ways Barron hadn't anticipated. Participants from all over the country were sharing their stories about how the program had not only helped them chase their dreams, but had also given them a renewed sense of hope and purpose. It was no longer just a collection of individual success stories. It had become a movement, one that connected people through shared aspirations and the power of community. Barron felt a deep sense of responsibility as he navigated this new phase of the initiative. He understood that the program's success would depend on its ability to scale and adapt without losing its personal touch. To ensure this, he worked closely with his team, emphasizing the importance of staying true to the initiative's core mission, empowering individuals to believe in themselves and take actionable steps toward their goals. One of the most significant developments came when the initiative expanded internationally. Barron had been approached by a youth organization in Europe, inspired by the program's success. They wanted to collaborate on a pilot project that would bring the initiative's resources and mentorship model to underserved communities in France and Germany. Barron was thrilled about the opportunity. He threw himself into the planning process, determined to make this expansion a success. During this time, Jack remained an integral part of the initiative. His journey, from a dreamer with a tattered map to a confident young man with a wealth of experiences, had become an inspiration for countless others. He continued mentoring new participants, sharing his story, and encouraging them to embrace the challenges ahead. Jack's transformation served as a constant reminder to Barron of why he had started the initiative in the first place. As the months passed, Barron's schedule grew increasingly demanding. Between overseeing operations, traveling to new program locations, and managing his personal commitments, he often found himself stretched thin. Yet, despite the challenges, he remained deeply committed to the cause. The letters, emails, and testimonials from participants kept him grounded, reminding him of the tangible impact the program was making. One of the most poignant moments came when Barron received a letter from a participant named Leah, a young artist from a small town in Texas. Leah had used the initiative's resources to showcase her work at a regional art exhibition, where she gained recognition for her talent and secured a scholarship to a prestigious art school. "I used to think my dreams were too big for someone like me," Leah wrote. "But this program taught me that the size of your dreams doesn't matter, as long as you're willing to work for them. Thank you for believing in people like me." Barron read the letter multiple times, deeply moved by Lee's words. It was moments like these that made every challenge worth it. He knew that the initiative wasn't just about providing resources. It was about changing mindsets and opening doors that had long been closed. As the international expansion got underway, Barron traveled to Paris to meet with the European partners and oversee the launch of the pilot project. Standing beneath the Eiffel Tower, he couldn't help but think of Jack and the conversation that had sparked this entire journey. It almost felt poetic to be back in the city where Jack's dream had first come to life, now bringing the same opportunity to others. The launch event in Paris was a resounding success. Barron spoke to a packed audience, sharing the initiative's story, and among the attendees were young individuals from all walks of life, each with their own dreams and aspirations. Barron made sure to connect with as many of them as possible, listening to their stories and encouraging them to take that crucial first step toward their goals. After the event, Barron took a moment to reflect. Standing on a balcony overlooking the city, the lights of Paris twinkling in the distance, he paused for the first time in a long while, taking in the magnitude of what had been accomplished. What had begun as a simple idea, a desire to help one boy achieve his dream, was now changing lives on a global scale. But Barron also knew this was just the beginning. The work was far from over. There were still countless dreams waiting to be realized, and he was determined to keep moving forward. As he prepared to return to New York, Barron felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey had been tough, no doubt, but deeply fulfilling. He was ready for whatever came next. Back in New York, Barron's focus shifted to the next phase of the initiative. Working with his team, they developed new programs and resources, ensuring the initiative could continue to grow and evolve. They launched online workshops, mentorship forums, and a scholarship fund, all designed to make the program more accessible to participants worldwide. Meanwhile, Jack had taken on a leadership role within the initiative. He worked closely with Barron, mentoring new participants and developing outreach strategies. Jack's authenticity and charisma made him a natural leader, and his involvement brought a fresh energy to the program. Together, Barron and Jack formed a dynamic team, united by their shared commitment to helping others. As the initiative entered its third year, Barron couldn't help but reflect on how far they had come. The program had touched thousands of lives, each participant with their own unique story. Aspiring artists, engineers, future pilots, and entrepreneurs, the initiative had become a beacon of hope for dreamers everywhere. One evening, as Barron reviewed the program's latest impact report, his phone buzzed with a message from Jack. It was a simple text, but it carried profound meaning. "Thank you for believing in me. None of this would have been possible without you." Barron smiled, his heart full. He knew that true success wasn't measured in numbers or accolades. It was measured by the lives they had touched, by the dreams they had made possible. Setting the report aside, Barron gazed out over the city skyline, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. The journey had been extraordinary, full of challenges and triumphs, and he knew it was just the beginning. The initiative would continue to grow, reaching new heights, and inspiring even more people to chase their dreams. As for Barron, he was ready to embrace whatever came next, confident that greatness wasn't about privilege or power, but about the impact you made on the lives of others. It was a lesson he had learned from a boy with a tattered map and an unshakable dream, a lesson that had changed his life forever.